Good morning, happy people. How are you today? I hope you had a great conference so far. And where's my slide? Here. Thanks very much. So, and are you ready for some real talk? Very nice, very nice. So, I would like to start with a few questions. So, how many of you want to be a good leader? Raise your hands. Let me see them. Nice, nice. And how many of you sincerely believe it's a challenge to be a true leader? Thank you for your hands. Great. So then I'm looking forward to our presentation today. I hope I can give you some insights. Maybe first a bit about myself. My name is Jon Graf. I'm from Switzerland, and I've created 3 companies to inspire people to live their passion. One of them is Digital Passion. 2 others I was a co-founder of. But enough of me and my companies. You are here to get some value, so I'm gonna dive into the topic. You've seen on the schedule that the topic is a bit confusing. Maybe the title you saw, there's AI, there's leadership. I'm gonna be honest, I twisted it up a little bit. That's why it got such a long title. But don't worry, I'm gonna be here to guide you through this presentation, through this journey. So just be with me. So let's start about AI. The big word, huh? The big thing coming. And I think before we look at the future, we have to recognize the past. What has happened in the last 10 years? Oh my God, has technology changed the world, right? Not so long ago, we didn't even have iPhones or phones. When I was a child, I was still using a pager to call my mother home. Did you know pagers? And look at us today. The world has changed, but one thing we have to know, it's an exponential growth. That means what has happened in the last 10 years is going to be nothing to what's going to be happening in the next 5 years. Are you ready for this? And even if you are ready, probably a lot of people aren't. I think most people had a challenge with the last 10 years. How are they gonna be coping with the next 5 and what's gonna come up? I mean, the whole professional space, every profession is gonna transform completely. And yeah, the big word AI is gonna make a big difference. And what does it do for marketing? For marketing, it will be crazy. So we all know what marketing is currently mainly about, right? We went from physical to digital. Then we went from like talking to everybody the same way to trying. I think we're all still a bit trying, right? Even if everybody that says we're great at it, we're still trying to talk to everybody individually. But because we're setting up systems that are not so flexible yet, it's hard. Now, that's where AI is going to come into place. AI is going to create user experiences on the fly, meaning a whole customer journey is going to be invented in the second. A whole persona is going to be created and analyzed in the second by the AI. And now, let's be honest, guys. We are already pretty good at marketing. Marketing is influencing the world. Now imagine what that will do if suddenly you, not only as a male or female, not only as a nationality, no, but you as a specific person are going to be targeted exactly for what you want and for what you need and how you want it to be and how you want it to look like, with the colors you like, all of that. It's going to be crazy. And we're going to go have insights that we never had. I mean, we already have big data, right? We have a lot of data to analyze, but it's still in so much different platforms and we can't really read it right. But what if AI is going to create data and analytics for us for today, for now? Like the analytics may change over an hour, how they are shown to you, because AI knows what you want to see right now. That's going to happen as well. So we're going to have this powerful omni-channel engine that is not only going to be reactive, adaptive, but also very insightful. And that's when I started twisting up my presentation. Because I realized, wow, what's going to happen is going to be powerful. It's going to be powerful to an extent where it can be scary. I mean, we all know, right? We're on a scale in marketing between inspire positive actions to manipulation. We all know that, right? And it's probably already today a challenge to, not be too much on the manipulative side. And yeah, it's going to be harder even in the future. And that also means risks. Risks are involved with AI, because who's going to create the borders? Who's going to make the right decisions? How are we? I don't think it's about the problem will be revenue, because that will definitely work with customer journeys adapted to every person. For me, the key thing to an ethical marketing, and that's where I twisted the presentation, is leadership. When AI marketing is coming, what we need is leadership. And why else leadership before AI? I mean, how are our businesses built? Maybe at the beginning the leader starts building, but at some point, and especially if it's a long-term business, businesses are built by people, by the culture. And it will continue building long after the leader has left if the culture is built right. But again, that is leadership. You, as a leader, create the environment, the culture, the values that lead a company forward. And now let's get to a very important point. Who is ruling the world? How is the world ruled? Information. And who says which information is true? Yeah, that's an interesting question. And listen, I think which one is the industry that defines or that puts out their information and defines truth? It's marketing. Marketing in the political world, marketing in the corporate world. Marketing is what helps create mindsets, is what helps create beliefs, and we are the future of that industry. So what are we want to build? I have one question to you. Is money really everything? I mean, if you're one day gonna leave this world and you're not gonna take your money with you, and you're gonna be on your deathbed and looking back at your life, what do you want to leave in this world? It's an important question for the future, guys, honestly. We need to know what we want to bring to this world. Is it only profit? And profit for who? Or do we also want to bring something into this world which has value, which has ethical value, which comes from our heart? I believe a lot of times we are bringing information out there from customers we can't 100% control, but do you also not want to bring out your own heart information out there and inspire people in a positive way? I believe leadership, for me, for a new future, has 3 pillars, 3 principles, and I'm going to go through them right now. They're going to be very counterintuitive, you'll see. First of all, for me, leadership in this new world means submission, subordination. Wow, isn't that the opposite of leadership? Submission? I don't believe so. You know why? Because if you are you can be either about yourself or about something else. That's the only 2 options you have. You can't do anything else. If you, as a leader, are only following things for yourself, you automatically are against everyone else. It's true, because if you're only about your own needs, you're gonna have a conflict with other people's needs. So what are you going to create? So You can also, of course, be about something else that is bad. There has been leaders like that as well. But I believe in order to be a good leader, you have to submit to something bigger than you. It can be different things. It could be your country, a cause, your God, whatever you want it to be. But it is very important that you lead for something bigger than you. It humbles you and it gives you focus and purpose. And then when you know, do you know what you're leading for? What you're submitting to? If you don't, maybe think, is it just profit? Or what should it be? And then there's a second part. Serving. Servant leadership. I have brought a little requisite for you. So this here. You have all seen this in restaurants, right? So we always think leaders should be served by their employees, right? By their followers. What if this is wrong? What if it's the opposite? What if we are the servants as leaders? What if we should be not asking, what can my employees do for me, but what can I do for my employees? Again, who is building the business? The employees. So why shouldn't you be there and ask everybody, okay, what do you need to produce better work? What do you need to be more efficient? What do you need to be more happy? You need a new computer to be more efficient. We need to change maybe how the air is in the room. We need to maybe more sales, more people to work, whatever. You should ask your people what you can do for them, because you as a leader are there to make sure the environment is perfect for production and for inspiration to evolve of your organization. So be a servant leader. Number 3, step aside. Again, something special, right? Leaders, are they not supposed to be like in the center of everything? No, I don't believe so. Why? Maybe at the beginning, yes. You have to lead as an example first, for sure. But then you need to also let other people shine. We all need appreciation. We all need to be seen. Most of all, your employees, your teams. So give the spotlight to someone else. And you can only do that if you step aside. And new leaders can only emerge if you step aside. So very important. You shouldn't be the one needing the spotlight as a leader. You should be the one giving it to all your employees, making them seen, making them what is celebrated. And then they will work a lot better. That's your job, to make the organization work better, not make it about yourself. Yes, and now, for me, the true discipline of leaders is the following. Build a lineage of leaders. I want to tell you about a few people. Do you guys know Socrates? Who knows Socrates? Great. Who knows Aristotle, Plato, and Alexander the Great? Not exactly the right order, but did you know that these guys were all students and professors of each other, teachers and students of each other? Imagine, these guys are still talked about today. Imagine how good of a leader you have to be to not only create such a lineage, but to be talked about thousands of years after you've not been on this earth anymore. So Socrates, he said, an unexamined life is a life not even worth living. So we need to examine our lives before we can be good leaders. And he was the teacher of Plato. And Plato wrote a book called The Republic. A book, there were not even books then, or paper the way we know it today, but it's still available today to buy and to see. He wrote about a group of people in a cave, and one went out and saw the light and came back to tell everybody about the light. But nobody could understand it because they had never seen it. Sometimes people just can't dance with you because they can't hear the music that you're hearing. And Plato, he was the teacher of Aristotle. And Aristotle said, To avoid criticism, say nothing, do nothing, and be nothing. Wow, what a profound phrase he said. And he was the teacher of Alexander, not the pretty good, but Alexander the Great. Maybe until today known as one of the biggest warrior of all time. One of the most influential people of history. He has created an empire that has lasted for centuries afterwards. And still today in military academies, and you know how war has changed, his strategies are told thousands of years after he has lived. Isn't that the kind of lineage of leaders you would like to create? Maybe imagine yourself as an Aristotle who had a teacher like Plato and now builds leaders like Alexander the Great, who goes out there and hopefully not only for profit, but for changing the world into a better place. So, also Aristotle, he said, you have to communicate and lead with ethos, pathos, and logos. What does that mean? It means ethos, be ethical. In whatever you do, be ethical. Not only when people are looking, also when the cameras are off. You know what I believe? Guys, this is also important. I believe we all know what's right and what's wrong. We have this inner compass. It might be pretty silent sometimes. We have to sometimes be a bit silent to listen to it. But if you're really honest, you know. You know. You know. But are you listening? And when you're a leader, you multiply what you believe in. So pay attention to that. And then logos. Logos sounds simple, but is it? It means be logical. Everything has to make sense. If you talk to your people, if you lead, if you create a document, if you create a process, it has to be logical. It can't just follow any rule. It has to follow a logical rule. And then for me, of course, what I'm all about, the pathos. You know, what's pathos? Pathos is passion. Live your life with passion. Because if not, why are you here if you're not giving it your all? If you're not going out there and all that was brought in was you were created for a purpose and you were made perfect. So go out there and shine and bring it out to the people and to the world. And in that way, we can, as leaders, as new leaders in marketing or for the future, we can co-create an ethical, logical, and passionate new world. Because the people who are crazy enough to think that they can change the world are the ones who do. So, thank you so much for listening to me. I hope I brought some value to you. Thank you very much. Of course, we'll have some Q&A if anybody has a question. In the meantime, if you want to connect, the left QR code is to connect with me and my company on social media, and the right one is to get the the keynote as a PDF. Exactly. Great. That was it. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, Chris. And do we have any questions from our audience members? Anyone want to ask Chris something? I love your energy. You're just so full of life and joy. It's wonderful.
I love your energy too.
Thank you so much.
Any questions? Yes.
Denise, thank you so much.
Thank you so much for the presentation. I'm just curious to know, how did you come about the passion part for yourself? When did you know, and how did that come about for you?
That's a good question. I think I've always been that way. I just couldn't always name it. It's a lot of, maybe sometimes it's more about unlearning stuff in life and really listening when it's silent than about learning something new. I think it's already all there. I don't also know if passionate is completely like englobing everything I'm about, but I think in a matter of words, it's the closest that it gets to what I'm about and what I wanna inspire and yes, give to the world.
Very beautiful. Thank you.
Thank you.
Anyone else have any questions? Are you running over there?
Thanks, lovely presentation. One quick question was, you mentioned about, one of the options when you talk about AI-driven marketing, it's going to be more adaptive and reactive. Can you just elaborate on these 2 points, please?
Yes, of course. I mean, it's like I said, today we're creating customer journeys for specific personas, user groups, and that means we might have different, for example, social media campaigns for different groups of people, and we might adjust the video or the image and all of that. But I mean, that's not the whole customer journey. At one point, they come into a regular sales funnel where there's always the same PDFs shown, the same email marketing, or the same sales, let's say, talk to them. But when AI comes into play, this customer journey will be created on the fly for that specific, not user group, but person. So an AI will be able to search all the social media and internet about Jon Graf, know exactly what I'm about, what I like, what my colors are, what my beliefs are, what my values are, and then create, based on that, not only the marketing campaigns, like the image or the video that is seen on social media, but the whole customer journey that comes afterwards. And that's going to be crazy, because they're going to know you better than yourself. So the AI is going to know you better than yourself. They're going to show you things you will like you didn't even know you liked.
Thank you.
Any other questions in the audience? Oh, one at the back there. I can't see.
Thank you so much. That was an excellent presentation.
You're welcome.
So basically, when you mentioned about ethics in the AI-driven marketing field, so this is something that, you're getting a lot of data, and this is something that's self-propagating. So I wanted to understand who watches the watchers, right? This is something that it needs lots of regulation, and how do you go about such a thing without abuse of data, and privacy and stuff like that?
Yes, I understand what you mean. I mean, who regulates, who oversees, where are the guidelines, who gives them? And honestly, I believe the only thing we can change in life is ourselves. We don't really have the power to change other people. But in changing ourselves, we can change our environment. So I think the question to ask here is not who's gonna take care of this. We all have to take care of this. And we all have to start with ourselves. And that's all you can do, but it means a lot. If you are ethical, if you make this your value, if you talk about it, if your organization is about it, and you communicate that way, that's gonna matter. As small or as big as it is, it's gonna matter. Then the more people that do that, the more it becomes something that is relevant, that is a standard. There's a lot of things you're not allowed to do in this room right now, not because you're getting into prison, but it's not socially accepted. What if being unethical is not socially accepted anymore? That's where we have to go.
Thank you so much.
You're welcome.
That's a really great point to finish on, I think.
Thank you.
I like that, Chris. Thank you so much. Can I take those off you?